Okay, so in the last video, we made a quick selection and we turned it into this layer mask that's right here. Um, and so now we have to refine it even more, right? We have this part down here, maybe some of the edges were very fringy. It really depends on where we're putting it if we're going to see those fringes. Just as a quick reminder, right, Command plus and minus will get you to zoom in to start seeing more. Holding down the space bar will turn you into the hand so that you can pan around. But let's get us back in here. And we no longer want to use a selection tool. We want to start actually working with this mask, okay? Now here's the one gotcha. Look down at the layers palette. There's actually two things going on this layer now. It's got all the information, right? And you can actually, if you look the thumbnail, you can see all the background that was there. The image has not been touched. Basically, all we've done to this layer is add this mask. And how the mask is working is that anything that is white is being fully shown. Anything that is black is being fully hidden. And then anything that's gray can be somewhere in between, right? So we can have half transparency within a mask. And this can be very handy for different things. But for right now, we mostly just want to stay with full on or off transparency. Now here's a gotcha that most students will face. We're going to need to actually use a brush tool and draw on this mask to refine it. But you'll notice that you can click on either the thumbnail or the mask. If you have the thumbnail clicked on, right, I can go in and I just change to the brush tool by hitting B, and I can draw, and you see I'll be permanently changing those pixels, and we do not want to do that, right? We want to make sure we have the layer mask selected, and when you have this layer mask selected, you can only pick grayscale things. So we need to go and pick let's actually pick a white mask right now based on what I'm seeing. So here's the brush tool. It's B on your keyboard. There's also the left and right brackets. If you remember from Illustrator, when we used the eraser tools and things like that, the brackets keys, left and right, made a brush bigger and smaller. It works the same in Photoshop. So now that I have it white, I'm going to be painting in things. So look right here, I'm painting in this area. Let's say I paint in this area, right? Now I didn't want to do that. Let me turn it into black. And you could select black. Actually, the D and X keys actually really work well for changing the black and white and changing the foreground and background. But you notice if I paint with black, then I start hiding those pixels, right? And I can zoom all the way in and make sure everything is very pixel perfect, right? Remember, raster images, we can make them pixel perfect. So I might come in here, make it a little smaller so I can really get in there, right? Make it a little bigger so it doesn't take so much painting. And that's it. That's the process. Compositing and knocking out just takes a long time. Not everything is instant magic, right? And that's the point. So here I'd come in and this down here it's real hard for the computer to tell the separation. So I can go ahead and try to figure out, right, all of this separation here to the best of what I can do. And looking at this, I don't even know what the separation is here. Maybe that, right? And just keep painting on. And that is the entire concept of layer masks. Again, it can take a little bit of a time to actually just sit down and make a really clean knockout. But that's what we're going to do in this exercise. From there, once you have this to how you want it, it's probably honestly best to leave it, but then when we want to start manipulating layers, it's going to become a problem. So you can actually do what's called committing a layer mask. So when you're happy with it and you're fine, I would save this as a separate file. And then for this one, we're going to drag it into a New York City scene. But when we get there, we would do this, and I'll show this again likely. So I just right-click on the layer mask thumbnail and say apply layer mask. And notice now we've now thrown away all that information in that background, and all we have is our transparent layer that I can use like any other transparent layer, right? And that is the basics of layer mask. Remember not to ever commit until you're sure it's absolutely perfect, or if you've saved a separate file so that you can go back to it. That's called non-destructive Photoshop.